Hello, and welcome to the U.S. Naval Academy. My name is Lieutenant Stephen Frazier, and I am an admissions counselor here, and I will be giving you a brief presentation about the Naval Academy, and you can then ask questions later in our chats that we will have posted on our website. The U.S. Naval Academy is located in Annapolis, Maryland, about 30 minutes east of Washington, D.C., and about 45 minutes south of Baltimore. On the yard, or the campus, which is what we call our entire location here, we have many services that are available to midshipmen throughout their lives here. As you can see, we have a barbershop, the mid-store, which is similar to a convenience store, a post office, a cobbler, laundry, and many more opportunities for midshipmen to get the errands done that they need. We also have 22 world-class athletic facilities located on the yard available to the midshipmen. From 3 swimming pools to a rifle range, any athletic activity that you are interested in, we have the facilities for. Many of these are used by our Division I varsity sports, as well as our club sports and our intramural sports. Primarily though, we are a college, and we like to say that it's not about the 4 years you're here, it's about the next 40. As you can see, we have a brag sheet here that we've put together of many of the rankings that we've had. My most important ranking, at least in my opinion, is that we have the number 5 best science lab facilities as ranked by the Best 382 Colleges magazine. The importance of this is that the Naval Academy does not have any sort of graduate level education available on the yard for midshipmen. So, any of the science lab facilities that you see as ranked number 5 are available to all undergrads. So every midshipman that comes here will have the opportunity to use these top level science lab facilities, as opposed to other colleges where these might be reserved for those graduate level programs. I speak about the midshipmen, and the midshipmen is what we call our students here. They are part of the brigade, which is the student body. So our brigade of midshipmen, as you can see, is broken down pretty equally across all 50 states, territories, and several foreign countries. We also have enlisted sailors and Marines that do come to the Naval Academy and complete 4 years here. And we have a diverse group of leaders, academic scholars, and varsity athletes all throughout the Naval Academy. We also have 25 available majors. So primarily, you will graduate with a Bachelor's of Science in one of these 25 majors, whether that is in the Engineering and Weapons Division or whether that is in the Humanities and Social Sciences. Nonetheless, you will complete the technical courses required in order to gain your Bachelor's of Science. One of our newer majors that we have is the Cyber Operations Center, or the Cyber Operations Major. This is going to be present in the Grace Hopper building here on the yard, which is a new construction, and this is one of the newest majors that we have available. It's one of the leading edge for our students to do these cyber courses. But no matter what you choose, no matter what major you decide to go into, we have some of the best professors and some of the best facilities in order to get your graduate level education. Your undergraduate level education. We also have several minors available. These are primarily for those humanities and social sciences, but if you complete the requirements for these minors, you may be able to earn one. With all of these majors and minors available, you can see that our core curriculum is very heavy. As I've already spoken to, we have a Bachelor's of Science for every student, and you'll see that in the red we have our math and sciences, in our green we have our humanities and social sciences, and in our blue we have our leadership and professional development courses. Every student here will take these core classes. These are required, and as you can see from left to right, these are the semesters as you go through your time at the Naval Academy. So your fourth class year, or your plebe freshman year, is divided into fall and spring. Then you have your third class, or your sophomore, or as we call them, youngsters. You have your second class for your juniors, and you have your first class year, or your senior, your first year for your seniors. And as you see, there are some blank locations on the schedule. These do not necessarily mean that you just don't take classes then. These are the opportunities where you slot in your electives for your major, which is decided your second semester of your plebe year. So each blank space is your electives, and then all of the core classes, as you see, is heavier at the beginning, and then will taper out towards the end as you work towards completing your major. One of the benefits to the Naval Academy is that we have an incredibly small class size. As you can see, our student to faculty ratio is 8:1, and our largest classes, roughly 25 students in them. I myself was a graduate of the class of 2014, and I remember that my core classes my freshman year were the largest, and they were no greater than 25 students. With these small classes, you have very close contact with faculty. And not only do you have close contact in classes, all of our staff members here are incredibly helpful and willing to come in after hours in the evenings, provide tutoring sessions, provide test review, and generally help you succeed. Our goal here at the Naval Academy is for you to succeed, and as difficult as the classes may be, you have the tools there in order to succeed in them. As you can see, because of the rigors of our class schedule, you're also going to have a very difficult day, especially your freshman year. This is the standard daily schedule that you'll see, again, especially as a freshman or a plebe. Starting at 5:30 in the morning, you'll have personal conditioning. This is your time for workouts. We also have varsity teams that will compete in workouts in that morning for their team practices. And this is all prior to formation and breakfast. I'll speak to formation in a minute. But after formation and breakfast, beginning at 8, you'll have 4 academic periods prior to lunch. These class periods may be double classes. You may have free periods, but in general, it's laid out in 4 45 to 55-minute long class sections that you'll go to. After that, you'll attend formation and lunch again, and this is where I'll speak to the formation. As you can see here in the bottom, and as you can look up online, our Brigade of Midshipmen joins these formations outdoors every afternoon for noon meal. This is an opportunity for accountability, for passing any word that needs to be passed. And then all students, all of the Brigade of Midshipmen, will march together indoors in order to have a meal in King Hall, our dining facility. All students eat in King Hall at the same time. These meals are served to each student at a table, roughly 12 people per table, and it is served family style. It is a very good opportunity for you to get to know the people that are in your company. Now, a company, which I haven't spoken to just yet, is how we divide our Brigade of Midshipmen. It is divided into 30 equal companies, roughly 125 to 150 students of each class year. And these companies you will generally stay with your entire 4 years. So, these tables that you eat at in King Hall are with that same company. And it is a good opportunity to really bond as almost a family, a home away from home. After formation and lunch, you'll go to your 5th and 6th academic periods. Again, this may be a double period, maybe a free period, or you may have 2 classes. But following that, you'll go into your athletic period. Now, the Naval Academy also strives and has the physical mission as one of its most important tenets. So all students, regardless of whether you are part of a varsity team, a club team, or an intramural team, will do some sort of athletic activity. We have a plethora of athletic activities available on the yard, which I will display for you later. But just know you will be very involved, and it's a lot of fun. After your athletic period, you have another evening formation and dinner, and then following that, you have the academic study period from 8 to 11 p.m. Now, this does not necessarily mean that you have to be awake from 8 to 11. This is just a blocked off time in which no one is going to come into your room, no one's going to task you with anything else. You're basically going to have that dedicated study time to yourself in order to succeed and complete your homework and any of your test prep. So I spoke to sports, and here's a list of some of our varsity sports. As you can see, we have many men's, women's, and co-ed varsity sports available at the Naval Academy. These are all NCAA Division I sports. If you are interested in becoming a recruited athlete to the Naval Academy in one of these sports, I recommend first registering as an NCAA athlete and then attending navysports.com and attempting to contact your coach of your interested sport. Like I said, these are all Division I, so they will travel, they will compete on weekends and during the week, and we will do intercollegiate travel. If you are not on one of these varsity sports, but are still interested in that sort of intercollegiate competitive attitude, then we have many club sports as well. These club sports are not necessarily the Division I level, but that does not mean they are not highly competitive. As you can see, we have men's, women's, and co-ed club sports here, and these teams will also have practices and will travel across the country in order to compete in these sports. Now, in the event that you're not a part of one of these club sports, you may end up in an intramural sport. These intramural sports are sports and competitions between the companies that I've already mentioned. As you can see, we have different sports each fall, spring, and summer cycle. These sports are voted on at the beginning of the semester by each company. The top 5 sports are picked, and these are played tournament style so that at the end of the semester, the color company can be announced. The color company is generally the company that gets bragging rights, possibly better parking, several other privileges that you may see. In addition to these intramural, we also have other athletic activities that you can see on the right. Not an exhaustive list, and we have many extracurricular activities outside of athletics that I'll speak to here shortly. So as you can see, we have many extracurricular activities. They range from cultural to service and many others. Again, not an exhaustive list. So if you are interested in something like music, we have many musical groups such as the Drum and Bugle Corps, which is your typical marching band. We have our pipes and drums, which is more of a Scottish, Irish, bagpipes and drums type marching band. We have a gospel choir, a glee club, so even musically inclined midshipmen have an opportunity to express themselves and have a good time. Again, you can see we have many other extracurricular activities. If you're interested in these, I highly recommend doing research on the Naval Academy website. You can feel free to ask any of your counselors during the chat sessions about these, and we'll be happy to provide information for you. At the Naval Academy, we are also highly interested in providing international experience in an attempt to provide it to at least 75% of our midshipmen throughout the brigade. As you can see, we have several locations all across the globe, and these change every year. This is not an exact list of where they will always be. These always change, and these range from your shorter duration programs, such as a spring break or a Thanksgiving trip, all the way out to your semester study abroads, which may spend a full semester in a language immersion program studying at a foreign college. These are very unique opportunities that a lot of times you will not see at other colleges, and it is something that a lot of our midshipmen have really enjoyed and benefited from. Now to the slide that everyone likes to talk about, the pay and benefits. At the Naval Academy, you will receive tuition, room and board, medical and dental coverage, as well as food, all totally free to you. The catch here is you will graduate and commission as a Naval or Marine Corps officer and serve a minimum of 5 years in the Navy or Marine Corps. Now, in my mind, this is an opportunity for me not to interview for a job, as I'm not great at interviewing. However, I thought it was a great trade-off. I had no college debt, and neither will you. You serve your 5 years, and after that, you may choose to leave Naval or Marine Corps service, or you may choose to stay in. However, you will also receive a stipend while here. Now this stipend, as you can see, is roughly $1,150 a month. You won't necessarily see all of that. Some of that money that comes from that stipend will go towards issued computers, issued books. But you will see, starting your freshman year, roughly $100 per month to get paid to go to college, and that pay will grow throughout your class years until you're receiving roughly $600 to $700 your first year. And I mentioned the summer cycle when I spoke about the foreign travel. We do have a lot of training that occurs over your summer break. This is not an opportunity for you to just go forward heads to the wind and spend 12 weeks away from the Naval Academy. You will still get 4 weeks of a summer break. This is an opportunity for you to go home, to do some international travel on your own, but there is several blocks of training that you will always participate in. Our summers are divided into 3 separate blocks, each 4 weeks long roughly. Like I said, you will receive a summer vacation each summer. You will also go on a fleet cruise of some kind and go through some leadership development. Now the fleet cruise will change year to year. So prior to your freshman year, you will go through plebe summer. This is the slightly different summer training than the rest of your years here. This is an 8-week program called plebe summer in which you are indoctrinated into the Naval Academy. This is a very similar situation to a Navy boot camp. So you will report in the beginning of July or the end of June, depending on the year, and you'll spend that 7 to 8 weeks going through athletic training, taking classes, taking courses and tests, and basically preparing yourself to be a successful Naval Academy midshipman. At the end of that, you will have a parents' weekend where you get to meet up with your parents again, and you get to spend the weekend with them, and following that, you begin your first year at the Naval Academy. Now, following your first year, your plebe year at the Naval Academy, you'll then go out and enjoy what is called an enlisted experience. This is an opportunity for you to go out to active duty service and you shadow an enlisted member of the Navy or Marine Corps. You go to their training, you do their jobs with them, you go to their duty sections and their watches, and you basically learn what it is to be in their shoes. As I've already spoken to, all Naval Academy graduates will commission as a Naval or Marine Corps officer. And the most important tenet of being a leader is first knowing how to follow. This is a perfect opportunity for you to learn what those people you may be leading in the future go through, and it is also your first taste as to what community you would like to be involved in once you graduate. After your freshman year, you will also do some sort of leadership development course. Now this ranges, we have many different opportunities for leadership development, and each class year as you progress, you will have more leadership roles in each of those situations. As you can see in the bottom right, for example, we have our Yard Patrol or YP craft, and these are opportunities for midshipmen to go out on these ships, sail up and down the East Coast as a midshipman crew with 1 to 2 officer representatives that are available on the ship for counseling and for recommendations. But these ships are midshipman led. As we saw earlier, you do take seamanship and navigation classes. So each midshipman has a role on this ship, and for 4 weeks you learn how to work as a crew. You have your seniors that are dictating exactly how the crew runs, all the way down to your youngsters or the people who have just finished their plebe year that are actually driving the ship and manning the navigation posts. There are many other opportunities for summer training, and it is by no means a list that I can get into all today, but a lot of those opportunities present themselves, and they are a lot of fun and a very great time. After your youngster year, you'll go into your second class year, and prior to that you will go into what's called your career exposure. Now we call this Protremid. It is very similar to Quartremid, as you may have heard in other ROTC programs, but it is similar. It is an opportunity for you to see what each branch of the Navy and the Marine Corps will do, and to get an idea for what you're excited about. So you'll spend a week with the Surface Navy, a week with aviation, a week on a submarine, and a week with the Marine Corps, and this is basically a sampler platter of what the different jobs are and what you really want to do once you graduate. This is your first opportunity in a lot of cases to get involved in the aviation community, to get involved and see what the inside of a submarine is like, and can really form the foundation of your opinion on your future job. You will also do another leadership development training during this time. So again, I won't speak to them all, but in this situation you may be teaching the incoming summer plebes how to shoot a weapon at their weapons training, or perhaps you'll be involved in one of our summer programs, which are all midshipman led. Then you go into your junior year, and then following your junior year you get your final summer training. This is where you get your officer experience, which is very similar to your enlisted experience, except you are now following an officer, hopefully in the branch or in the job that you are looking to possibly join. So if you want to go aviation, we will attempt to place you with an aviation squadron so that you can see what an officer in an aviation squadron does, what his day-to-day life is like, and what yours may be like in a few short years. You'll do your final leadership development training, and then you go into your first year. Now the reason we do this career exposure is because the first semester of your first year is when you put in for your service assignment. This is the job you'll have in the Navy or the Marine Corps, and this is where you put in your preferences, and following needs of the Navy, we generally say we try to get about 85% to 90% of people their first or second choice. So you have a very strong chance of getting one of those jobs that you have picked and wanted to go into. And after you finish your first class graduation or your first class year, you come to graduation and commissioning. As I've already said, you graduate with a Bachelor's of Science in whatever your major of choice was. You're also commissioned as a U.S. Naval or U.S. Marine Corps officer, and you will have a minimum of a 5-year service commitment, which may vary depending on whatever your service assignment was. Now, we have several service assignments, as I've already spoken to. We have the surface warfare community, which is involved with ships abroad. We have our submarine community, which is open to both men and women and is sometimes known as the silent service. We have our aviation community, which you can see is broken down from our maritime patrol, which is what I was part of, to our strike fighters, to our rotary wing, or our helos. We also graduate special warfare officers, both in the SEALs and at EOD. And the Marine Corps, which, as you can see, you have Marine Corps ground and Marine Corps air options. So as you can see from the Naval Academy, if you really look at any job in the military, the Navy and Marine Corps has a sampling or has something similar, and you will find something that you were excited about. Here are the service assignment layouts of how our previous class selected. As you can see, it's divided into unrestricted and restricted line. Now the division between these it can be fuzzy, so the best way that I can explain it is that your unrestricted line officers are those officers that later on in their career may have the opportunity for major command. So you may be the CO of a warship, or you may be the skipper of an aviation squadron. Whereas the restricted line officers, these are officers that are deemed maybe to have some slight medical issue or some reason that they cannot serve in an unrestricted capacity. These officers may not have that opportunity for major command, but they will still be able to spend an entire career in the Navy or the Marine Corps and go out through retirement and still go through promotions. As you can see, the numbers on the left for the unrestricted line are much greater. That is because the goal of the Naval Academy is to graduate unrestricted line officers. I'll shift focus for a second and talk about our summer programs. First, we have our STEM program, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. At the time of this video, the applications are open. These applications are open until April 15th for STEM. This is an opportunity for you to come to the Naval Academy for a week and spend a week taking science, technology classes, using our lab facilities, spending a week in our dorms, and even getting a field trip out to possibly the National Mall or Fort Meade. It's a very awesome opportunity. It is open to our rising 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, so those students going into the grades that I've said. If you're interested in this, you can find more information at the website listed, which is the admissions/STEM page. This is also where you will find the application for the STEM program. Now, STEM does have a $600 tuition fee, and once you've placed your application into the system and you've been accepted, when you receive the email, you'll have information on how to pay that tuition, as well as information on how to come to the Naval Academy, the times, and how we will speak and get your students here from the airports. The second program I'd like to talk about is the Naval Academy Summer Seminar. This summer's program is geared more for those students who are already interested in a service academy and would like to get an opportunity to decide if it's actually right for them. So this is a week in the life of a midshipman. You'll still stay in the dorms at the Naval Academy. You will still spend a lot of times going through classes or modules that you're interested in once you fill out your application. But you'll also, as you can see here, you'll do some more physically demanding tasks. You may go out and paddle the ribs, or maybe do some damage control training. Again, this is an opportunity for you to get to know whether or not this is something you want to do. Now, the Naval Academy Summer Seminar application is open until the end of this month, so March 31st of this year. You can go there to that application site, admissions/NASS, for the summer seminar, fill out your application, and this program has a $550 tuition. Again, you fill out your application. If you receive an email that you've been selected, it will have information on how to pay, how to travel, and all information that you need for the program. Slight shift back towards the admissions to the actual Naval Academy now that we've talked a little bit about our summer programs. Here are the basic eligibility requirements as dictated to us by Congress. So all midshipmen joining the Naval Academy must be 17 years of age and must not have passed their 23rd birthday on July 1st of the year of their entry. They must be a United States citizen by I-Day. They must be unmarried, cannot be pregnant, and have no legal obligation to support a child or another individual. And they must be of good moral character. Again, this is dictated to us by Congress, and so these are the requirements that we have for basic eligibility to the Naval Academy. As you can see, this is our admissions website, in which case you can start your journey for admissions to the Naval Academy. So I spoke about the basic eligibility, but your application does not stop there. As you can see, there is a long list of information that we will need for your application. I will not go into an exhaustive, detailed speech about how this application looks, but I will talk to you about the 4 pillars of our application, the 4 pillars of becoming a candidate to the Naval Academy. First off, you must be academically qualified. As you can see here, this is where you will get that academic qualification. We do not have a minimum GPA, and we do not have minimum SAT or ACT scores. We do ask that you try to strive to be in the top 20% of your class of your high school, that you do have strong SAT, ACTs, and that you have a good foundation in math and science. Now, your SATs and ACTs, we will super score. This is to say that if you take an SAT on Monday and receive a 200 in math and a 700 in verbal, and then you follow up on Friday and take the SAT again and receive a 200 in verbal and 700 in math, we will take the greatest scores of those subsets, and in our eyes, you've received a 700 on the SAT. We do the same for the ACT. So, this is to encourage you Take the SATs and ACTs early and often because it will not hurt you, it will only help you. Moving on a little bit, we also have a physical qualification requirement to the Naval Academy. As you can see, every candidate will take the Candidate Fitness Assessment administered by the people you can see on the right. This consists of a 1-mile run, push-ups, sit-ups. You also will do pull-ups, a basketball throw, and a 40-yard shuttle run. This is in order to test your physical fitness to the Naval Academy. However, you will also be able to take this test as many times as you can prior to the closing of the application. We do not superscore the Candidate Fitness Assessment. However, like I said, you can take it as many times as you want, and this is also shared between the service academies. So if you take it for the Naval Academy and are interested in applying for Air Force, we can share those scores to Air Force so that you don't have to take it separate times for each school. We also require that all candidates be medically qualified. This medical qualification is deemed by an entity called DODMER, which stands for the Department of Defense Medical Examination and Review Board. When you have completed roughly 50% of your application, after a few weeks you will receive an email from this company, this DODMER entity, and they will detail a local doctor or a local set of doctors that you will visit, and they will do a physical exam on you. The Naval Academy is a strenuous place to be, and we are also looking to graduate those officers that are physically ready to handle whatever challenges may be presented. So this is your opportunity. Give all of the information, all of your medical history. There are some situations where DODMER may initially disqualify you. However, do not let that discourage you. The Naval Academy does have a process for waivers. This is, again, something dictated by doctors, and the DODMER situation, the DODMER portal, is totally separate from admissions. However, once the doctors have made their recommendations, even after disqualification, we do have an opportunity to possibly grant waivers and still have you attend the U.S. Naval Academy. The final piece, or the final pillar of your application, is the nominations. Every student must receive a nomination from one of many sources in order to attend the Naval Academy. As you can see, our most common are the vice presidential, the congressional, and the senators. We also have nominations available for students whose parents are active duty and were active duty and are collecting retirement pay, or those parents that were KIA or MIA. There are also many other nomination sources. I encourage you to apply to not just one, but as many as you have available, because these are also competing pools. However, all of your requirements can be found on the U.S. Naval Academy admissions page. There is a subsection all detailing nominations, who and how to get them. So, for all of these, you would look to start April 1st when the preliminary application opens for the U.S. Naval Academy. This year would be the class of 2025. You can start your application on April 1st, and this will run and be open all the way until January 31st of next year. As you can see, over the summer, we have our summer seminar, our STEM programs, but our admissions board will start meeting in September of this year, and to start that process, the rolling admissions of those students who have already finished their application. Now, the earlier you start your application, the earlier opportunity you have to speak to one of us, your admissions counselors. We as your admissions counselors will have contact information located on your portal after you've started your application, and we are great resources for you to email or to call in order to ask questions, find out what ways you can improve your application. We may also contact you if we think that there is something you can improve. So the earlier you start your application, the more opportunity you have to have a better application to be presented before the admissions board. The deadline to open an application, however, does extend all the way till December 31st. So if you do wait and start your application on December 31st, you will have until January 31st to complete that. After January 31st, the admissions board will continue to meet, and all candidates will be notified of their status by April 15th of their senior year. The college signing deadline nationally is May 1st, and this is when you commit to the U.S. Naval Academy. You will also receive your permit to report following your commitment, and you will come to plebe summer beginning end of June, early July, after your senior year of graduation. So a visual to see all of this is our admissions process. As you can see, the 4 pillars that I spoke about. You once finish those 4 pillars, you become eligible to compete for an appointment to the Naval Academy, and following that, you may receive your offer of appointment. Every year, the U.S. Naval Academy receives roughly 16,000 people that open a preliminary application, and only roughly 3,500 to 3,600 finish all of these 4 pillars and become eligible to compete for that offer of appointment. So once finishing that, we have roughly 1,300 offers that we send out, and that will be the next class. Whoever accepts those offers and commits to the Naval Academy will join the new class of 2025. We also do offer the Naval Academy Preparatory School and Foundation programs. These are programs designed for those students that we see as very well-rounded candidates that we believe would make good officers in the Navy and Marine Corps, but may possibly need a little extra academic help. Maybe you weren't able because of a school problem or a school lack of availability for higher level math classes. So maybe you would get sent to one of these preparatory schools in order to prepare you for the rigors of the Naval Academy. These situations, you would go for a year prior to your plebe year. After that, you would go through plebe summer with the next incoming class, and you would complete your 4 years at the Naval Academy just as normal. Like I said, there is no separate application. These will be offered to you if we deem that you are a good candidate for them, and then you would report to either Newport, Rhode Island, or one of the 16 foundation programs that we have across the country. Again, advice for admissions, as I've already harped on multiple times, but I will bring up again, I recommend a strong foundation in both math and science. You will be taking calculus very early at the Naval Academy, and the closest you can get to calculus, or even taking college level calculus in high school, is only going to serve you once you join. We also don't have a minimum GPA, but again, we ask that you strive to be in that top 20% of your class, and take your SAT early and often, as I've already described the benefits. We do encourage AP, honors, and IB courses, and while we do not accept direct transfer of these credits or direct validation of these courses, over plebe summer you will have the opportunity to take many validation tests, which may place you in a higher level college class when you begin your freshman or your plebe year. So any AP, honors, and IB classes you take, not only do they look good on your application, they are preparing you better for the opportunity to perform well at the Naval Academy. And finally, as I've already said, we ask that you be a well-rounded candidate. We want those students that have leadership ability, that have served in their community, and have the opportunity to graduate and be a strong leader in the U.S. Navy or Marine Corps. Finally, the top 5 reasons I would say to go Navy. We do offer the full scholarship, as I said. That includes room, board, tuition, medical, and dental. You have guaranteed employment after you graduate for a minimum of 5 years. Our location is outstanding, not only for the location and the relative distance to Washington, D.C., or Baltimore, Philadelphia, or New York, but also because the Naval Academy has special programs that may be offered to you later in your academy career, in which you would concurrently complete a master's degree while still finishing your bachelor's degree here. These programs are higher level academic courses, but you would go to some of the colleges that we have very locally, and this is very unique to the U.S. Naval Academy because of our proximity to these colleges. We also provide very unique leadership and character development, as I've already spoken to with all of the summer training as well as the leadership and professional development classes you will take. This is something you don't normally see at most colleges, and this is an opportunity for you to better yourself outside of the academic realm. And finally, the Naval Academy boasts an 89% graduation rate. We are a 4-year college, and a 4-year college only. We do not have 5-year programs, and so all of our students that come here, 89% of them graduate in 4 years. That is an incredible feat, especially with the rigors of our academic, athletic, and our professional development here at the Naval Academy. Here are the websites that you can go to in order to find out more information about us. We also have a Facebook, a Twitter, and an Instagram that we post regularly on as the admissions team to keep you updated and to provide you extra information and maybe some interaction with some of our staff. If you have any questions, feel free. During our chat sessions, they should be roughly 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. every day, Monday through Saturday. This is an opportunity for you to ask any questions about the brief, and you can also rewatch this brief at any time in order to get any information that you need. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.